Clobberin Time.
What's up, everybody? This is Andreas Hale, and you are tuned into Clobberin Time. And for this particular episode, we're starting off things a little bit differently as I'm sitting down with the man himself, Triple G, Gennadiy Golovkin. And if you didn't know, on September 17th, he's stepping back into the ring with Canelo Alvarez for a third time. These two have been rivals for quite some time. The first fight ended in a draw. Canelo controversially won the second fight, and now we're finally getting a third fight. What does Gennadiy Golovkin have to say about that? Let's talk to him. And I'm here with the one and only Gennadiy Golovkin, who faces an opponent you may have heard of in a trilogy fight that you might have heard about with Canelo Alvarez in Las Vegas in September. It's going to be a big one. Gennadiy, how are you doing today?
I'm great, thank you.
My first question, I know like this, everybody's talked about this trilogy. Why doesn't Canelo like you? What did you do to him to make him so mad? Because it's very weird that he's so mad at you.
Да, вообще эта реакция не только у Андреаса.
Andres, you're not the only one bewildered about that. Many people ask this question, why? Many people do not understand. I guess it's just his position, and he's saying, you said something. I don't talk about him at all. What I said is just facts. If he if he likes when people, just say kind of like flattering things, that's different. I think if somebody's truthful and honest, that should be taken as a compliment. But maybe it's just his strategy to put the blame on me, to call me double-faced instead. I know I'm not, and so there's and we all know that there was a verdict by official organizations, and so if whatever was said was just the facts.
For somebody who has said, Canelo has said that he took on the toughest challenges while you didn't face tough challenges like he did. But if he was going to face tough challenges, shouldn't he have been fighting you instead of fighting everybody else? Because it seems like you were the toughest challenge for him.
Мне тяжело сказать, да?
Well, it's hard for me to say nice things about myself. We know what happened. We know how he avoided this fight, that he went to court, and that we had a rematch clause, and he still broke the contract. And if he says that he had the toughest fighters, if we look at those weight divisions, if we look at 168, why not Benavides? If we look at 175, why not Beterbiev? So, again, it's kind of hypocritical, I would say, all his craftiness. And I think we all need to learn already that whatever he says, it's not always true.
One of the things he says is, I'm going to knock you out. And I think that is the most interesting thing, because you have never been stopped in your boxing career. And Canelo usually never says he's going to knock somebody out. But when you hear an opponent say something like that, do you think there's a sign of weakness when they say that they're going to knock you out instead of saying that I'm just going to win the fight?
Again, I don't know what he's saying, and I don't want to speak for him. We saw his behavior at the press conference, at the press conferences rather, and we saw how he raised his arms after his last fight, probably believing that he won. Only shows that he's been out of touch with the reality, and that he's kind of revolving in his own world.
What is more important? Now, obviously, beating Canelo is important, but to also be the undisputed 168-pound champion is a pretty big deal too, as well. How would you rate those things? How important would it be for you to become an undisputed champion at super middleweight?
It's a very good question, actually, Andreas. And indeed, unifying at 168 would be amazing. It motivates me more as an athlete, I would say. So for Canelo, like I said, delivering a loss, it would be good too, of course. But to me, it's not personal. It's just another fight in my career. So that would be just a nice bonus. At the same time, if we look at his last fight, Bivol won, and it did not change Bivol much, and it was just a big bonus for Bivol of like winning that fight.
You would spend so much of your career at 160 pounds. You're fighting at 168 pounds. Now that you're getting closer to your target weight for the fight, are you surprised how good you feel? Because we've seen the videos and you look really good as approaching 168. Is this something that you expected, that your body would acclimate to that weight class?
I'm very happy with how I feel right now. I feel great. And that's part of my career, has always been to train hard, to deliver everything that I have in me, like to be as dedicated as possible. The only difference would be probably how I approach this weight, how I make it. Because for me to make 160, there was a need sometimes to wear like weight burning suit for a couple days to lose like extra water, and in this time around, this probably not need to be done. So the last 2 or 3 days will probably be a bit different.
How was your health? I talked to your trainer, Jonathan Banks, and he had talked about that you are more healthy than you've been in the past few years. And we saw that in the Barada fight, somebody who was happy and healthy. You fought when you were not at 100% before. When you fought Derevchenko, Jonathan Banks said that you weren't at 100%. When you fought Gabe Rosado, you were sick before that fight. How good does it feel being almost as healthy as you can be heading into this third fight?
Well, so no excuses this time around, and I'm actually very happy with those fights, despite how I felt back then, and I'm happy with the outcome. So that was victories both times. At the same time, I don't want to make any excuses. I'm very happy with how I feel now. I'm working in accordance with our plan. There are certain nuances, of course, but overall, I'm very happy with my current condition.
This fight with Canelo reminds me a lot of Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez, where a lot of people thought Marquez won every fight and he had to knock him out finally to get it done. Now, I'm not saying that you have to knock him out, but do you see similarities when you look at those fights and look at yours, where a lot of people thought you won the fights and the judges did it, and then finally you get that win, and it's like you get this off your back, is what you wanted the whole time. So are there similarities to these two rivalries?
Well, first of all, I don't want to belittle our first two fights. They were both exciting, fascinating fights, and they went into history as such. And I hope that our third fight will go into history as an interesting, as an exciting fight. And at the same time, the third fight should not erase the first two, the outcome, the actual fights. And of course, I hope I'll win the third fight, and the judges will not be able to affect the situation. I hope the judges will be honest, fair. I can only hope. So we'll see how it's going to go. So I wouldn't compare Marquez Pacquiao rivalry and ours. The only thing that would be similar is those were great fights that went into history, and I hope that our fights, all fights, will be great and will be as historic as those.
A couple more for you. One, Canelo, since he's fought you, and even when he fought you, his punch output is dipped in every fight. He doesn't throw as many punches. And it caught up with him against Bivol, where he didn't throw enough punches and he pretty much got outworked by his opponent. Is that something you have noticed? Because in your fights with Canelo, you outlanded and outpunched him in almost every single round, yet somehow he still won the fights. But it seems like Canelo doesn't like to throw punches the higher up in weight he goes.
It's hard for me to say. I don't know what he does during the training right now. I don't know how he feels. I would say that 175 was probably a difficult weight category for him, and that his training approach probably had certain errors that led to that result. And but it's a question to him. What excuses he is going to find, how he's going to wriggle out of this this time around. But numbers speak for themselves. Speaking about our fight, this weight category is more comfortable for him, and plus he believes it's personal. I would say that, and it's for both of us, we're going to step on the throttle all the way and just go into it.
The last question everybody asks about, Canelo says he's going to retire you, but do you see a world where the Gennadiy Golovkin story is not over, no matter what happens in this fight, and that you will continue to fight and fans don't have to worry about you retiring, or is it something that you are thinking about?
I
think I have had an excellent career. I have a lot of achievements. I'm very happy with my legacy. I'm in the Guinness Book of Records for the biggest number of knockouts in the middleweight division, biggest number of title defenses. And I have some plans, some good plans, interesting plans after this fight. But let's discuss them after, because, this fight might get in the way. I don't know, there could be a rematch or something. So this question is for later.
Perfect. Well, Gennadiy, thank you so much for the time, and I appreciate you. I'll see you in Vegas in just a couple of weeks. Huge fight. Going to be very exciting. Thank you again. I appreciate you guys.
Anytime, Jess. Yeah, welcome.
All right, so you heard from him. Gennadiy Golovkin, he says it's not personal, but he knows that Canelo has some issues with him. And he's hoping to solidify that and become the undisputed 168-pound champion. It's crazy to think the man is 40 years old and has an opportunity to finally become undisputed, but in a different weight class. So stay with us on the Clobberin Time podcast.